Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Recovery Meme Review Monday Night Live stream. I'm Seth Perry. Who am I? Well, I'm a pastor. I'm also in recovery from addiction, and I review memes every Monday night. That's just something that I do. And if you are tuned in, what I encourage you to do is drop something in the chat. Let me know that you're watching and we're going to get into the memes right in a second here. First, I wanted to say that I'm not affiliated with any treatment centers or support groups or institutions. I am a pastor, but this is something I do on my day off, so I don't represent any particular religious institution, and I do so because this is an open place for people of all religious backgrounds, including atheists who are interested in recovery, to talk about issues around recovery, have a little bit of fun as well, because some of the memes are funny, some of the memes are meant to be funny, and some of the memes have spiritual value as well. So if you're here, drop something in the chat. Let me know that you're watching. Thanks for tuning in. And without any further ado, we're going to move on to our very first recovery meme. Now, would I necessarily believe that this is a recovery meme? I don't know. I don't know, but there's a very interesting story behind this. So I see this often in I see this picture all the time in recovery message boards. I see this message all the time on Facebook groups that are about recovery. And here it is. It's Jesus and it's Satan, and they're locked in a grip, and they are okay. Jesus and Satan are having an arm wrestle. I think that it's interesting. We can look at some details. We've got a volcano on one side, and Satan's jaw is just locked, man. Like it is. It's seriously like he. Satan's got a jaw that looks like it's been grinding all night, and we got a waterfall in the background on that side. We've got a lava flow on the other side. This is giving me some He-Man vibes a little bit as well. So split right down the middle, and it's like they've come together to arm wrestle. And Jesus, that's not a very realistic beard there, Jesus. So here's what I want to say about this. First of all, here's a little bit of background. Does the Bible say that Satan is a character? That's pretty debatable. You know, eh. But why is this so important for recovery people? Well, a lot of people in recovery feel like this arm wrestle is going on inside. And if this represents what happened to you before you came into recovery, and this is sort of a representation of the battle that was won, by all means, adapt this as something that is very important to you. Is this something that is important to me? Not really. I think it's something that's a little bit over the top. It looks like something that could maybe be plastered on the side of a van from the 70s that you might see in a Cheech and Chong movie. It's that kind of art. It is very dramatic. Look at them. They're just locked eyes, just like ready to rumble. But let's play this through a little bit. If Jesus and Satan were to battle on Earth, do you think they would choose an arm wrestle? Is that really their preferred method of deciding who is the true? I don't know. What are they even arm wrestling about? That's the other question. What are Jesus like? I understand for some people in recovery, in their own mind, or maybe in their own heart or in their spirit, they seem like demons were fighting or whatever. But in this, like, is this the ultimate battle? Is this the end of days? So okay, so let's play this forward then. Let's say that this is actually the apocalypse. So people across the world are just like glued to their television sets, and then a reporter comes and says. This just in, Jesus and Satan have locked arms, and they are going to pretty much they have decided that the ruler of Earth will be decided by an arm wrestle. Yeah, that's kind of what I see in this. I mean, I understand the imagery. I understand the imagery. What's worse is people have really, really taken to this. So much so that, oh my goodness, look at this. Can you believe what people have done? Now, there are various states of tattoos here. Now, if you look up here, this one is maybe not so good. This one is a little bit better. I would say that maybe that tattoo down to in that corner there, that corner. How do I even that 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 corner? So that tattoo in that corner is probably the best, I would say. But unfortunately, the one down in this corner, oh man, what happened? What happened here? What happened, dude? This is unfortunate. And I mean, someone took a piece of art, took it into a tattoo parlor, and this was what happened. And forever, this will be on your back. And I know you can get tattoos removed, but my, oh my. So again, uh, the ultimate battle for all of Earth will be decided with an arm wrestle between Satan and Jesus. And all right, yeah. And some people have decided to put that on their body for the rest of their life. I mean, both of them kind of have that kill me now kind of vibe. So, for all of our viewers who are watching right now, why don't you put something in the chat? Let me know you're watching, and I'd love to welcome you on the show. Thanks for tuning in. We'll move on to our next meme. Oh yes, of course. I have to rate this meme. Okay, so I'm calling this a meme. It's probably just a piece of art that somebody did. It's unaccredited, but it has been passed around to recovery chat boards and posted on sober people's um, Facebook walls, all that stuff. So I have to rate this, and I'm going to give it a no, Jesus. Absolutely, Jesus says no on that one, and I don't think that Jesus necessarily, if he was around today, as a human walking around, would necessarily say, "Hey, man, yeah, I don't really like that." I just think that the best way to kind of scold the use of this, because I mean, people, and maybe also the tattoos involved, was it would be like maybe think about going to a good tattoo artist, and maybe also think about this is a huge back tattoo or chest tattoo that you're getting as well. And also, what does it really represent to you? If it represents something meaningful that happened in your life, and it really spoke to you the first time you saw it, absolutely. But um, if it simplifies, if it simplifies a binary process, because the world is a big spectrum, man. Like there's a lot of gray in this world, and that's something that it's not always just right or wrong, right? So that's something else I encourage you all to think about. It's not always right or wrong. All right. Next one. Here we go. I'm still not. I mean, there's three people watching, folks, and no one's typed anything in the chat. So if you're watching, drop a hello in the chat so I know that you're tuned in and I can give you a shout out. I'd love to give anyone in the chat a shout out, because that's just great. So we're gonna move on to our next meme. Okay, so I'm not throwing shade on Eric Clapton at all, and I know last week I did a meme about Robert Downey Jr. There is a shortened highlight video of my Robert Downey Jr. meme that's posted on my main page. So if you can check that out, definitely do so. And I'm just want to let everybody know before I start this part of my meme review. Go ahead, say hello in the chat. And let me know that you're watching. And before I review this meme, just say hey, because I just saw a few more people tuned in. So here we go. Eric Clapton, heroin, also pixelated. Definitely. This is all the hallmarks of a often replicated and redistributed Facebook meme, which kind of makes me think, okay, let's do a fact check on this meme. Because also it's using, is that Comic Sans? It is, or another very often used font, right? So we got to think, okay. So, you know, that's why I say sometimes memes like these, you should look at them and say, okay, yeah, there's some inspirational value that I've gleaned from this, but let's just slow down a moment and read this carefully and see what actually is there in terms of facts. So here we go. Here's what we got. Here's what it's a bullet point, but there's just one bullet point. Um, at one point in his life, Eric Clapton was paying $16,000 a week on heroin. His addiction nearly killed him when he lost consciousness during a performance and had to be revived. Eric eventually overcame his addiction and now runs a center for drug and alcohol addiction treatment. Okay, so two parts of this. Uh, he had a huge addiction problem, and he's a recovered addict or recovering addict. He's a recovering addict. That's good, and it's good to have people who are famous open about being in recovery, and it does a lot to move the needle forward and to help other people. They can see role models out there that have worked to overcome addiction and who are dealing and entering into an active stage of recovery. I like that. However, um, when it says he eventually overcame his addiction, now runs an alcohol and drug addiction treatment center, that's a pretty broad definition. And so that's why when you condense something like this down into meme form, you kind of go, well, what is a drug and alcohol addiction treatment center? Because there are government run drug and alcohol addiction treatment center. There are free drug and alcohol addiction treatment centers. There are numerous different types. There are private, there are corporations that run drug and alcohol addiction treatment centers. There are complete scam drug and alcohol addiction treatment center. I am not accusing Eric Clapton of running a sham drug and alcohol addiction treatment center, but it would serve you a little bit to read this meme and say, okay, well, let's look into it a little bit. So if you do, this is the treatment center he works at. Or sorry, that'd be funny. Eric Clapton. Hey, I'm Eric Clapton and I work at an addiction treatment center. This is the addiction treatment center that Eric Clapton owns. This is and it's by it definitely looks like a corporate treatment center. It is probably a corporation. It's called Crossroads Center Antigua, where you go, okay, so the definition narrows, and it probably is possibly maybe a little bit more exclusive than you might think. And not to fault him, I guess wealthy people need to do that. And in and in my googling of this and getting a little bit of information in background or around this, looking into the meme, I found that actually a list that said 10 places for millionaires to get sober, and this was on the list. But I think that was kind of a joke title for a reasonable list. But just remember, this is a residential addiction treatment center in Antigua. So on top of all the costs that you would pay to go here, you would also then have to pay for the flight there, right? So remember that. So in terms of accessibility, is this necessarily the most accessible treatment center? I would say no. It is accredited, as it says right there. It has numerous accreditations, which means it is probably a bona fide treatment center, and I don't doubt that. And I went to a private treatment center. I was privileged enough to have people pay for me to go to treatment. So when you break it down, the treatment costs of going to Crossroads Antigua is inaccessible for I don't know how many, but many. The costs of this treatment center are inaccessible to many who have multiple barriers. because for 29 days, it's $27,000 as a base cost, but there's additional costs on top of that. The 6 week residential treatment program is just under $35,000 plus a $500 medical deposit. So if you would look at that, then something where this meme might say to some people, oh, Eric Clapton turned his life around and now he's benevolent and is helping people, because you might think, oh, a rich guy is helping those lowly drug addicts. Well, can someone who's on Skid Row fly to Antigua and spend $35,000 to go to treatment? No. And I'm not faulting Eric Clapton, because rich people need recovery retreats as well. But there is a problem in the world and nation, and both nations. I live in Canada and the United States, where individuals don't have access, and there's a lack of publicly funded treatment. There's a lack of publicly funded treatment. There's other things like the decriminalization of drugs that need to happen in order for people to stop getting thrown into jail. Uh, and those are all issues that have to do with one's own resources financially that could get them into treatment. So this is not knocking Eric Clapton. This is more asking you to think critically when you see a meme like this, because the important thing is to think, what did I just read? Did I read Eric Clapton got, like, what was the message that your mind took away from this? Was the message your mind took away from this, Eric Clapton got clean and now he helps other people get clean? And what's the image in your mind? Is he helping people that are really, really poor? Is he helping people that have, multiple barriers? Is he helping? No, well, he's probably not. He's helping people or whose people's families or connections have the 35 grand plus the flight ticket plus the additional expenses to send them to Antigua to get clean, probably with access to the beach. And I might say there's probably a jet ski involved. So for this, I'm going to give it the Homer Simpson reacting to a very, very expensive vacation bill or something. I stopped watching The Simpsons. I have no idea what this is really referring to, but definitely those broken reading glasses tell the whole tale of the fact check of this meme. Still an effective meme. I think that there's a great story behind it, that someone who's wealthy enough could start a treatment center. Absolutely. But it looks like it's kind of an exclusive treatment center. It's kind of a treatment center that you would have to go to if you were wealthy. So that's what I have to say about that. And a reminder, if you're tuned into the live stream, don't be shy. I'll give you a shout out if you're on the chat. I don't see any of our viewers right now that have said anything. But again, if you're tuned in right now, thanks for tuning in, and I appreciate you all. I've got a really, really new meme that came to me from the Facebook group. They are called the Recovery Misfit memes. They gave me this one, and it is so new. Here we go. So this is the Logan Paul Floyd Mayweather fight, and which ended up with just them hugging, I guess. I didn't watch much in terms of highlights or anything like that. I heard, unfortunately, it wasn't much of a boxing match. So I'm going to read the tag on this, and this is from at Bill Wilson, though, which is probably an Instagram or Twitter account. So here is the caption. The one guy at the the one guy at an NA. Oh, I guess, yeah, that's unfortunate, because it probably should say the one guy at an NA meeting. Yeah, or the one guy at NA. The one guy at NA who gives extra long, uncomfortable hugs. Now, let's break this down a little bit for anyone who's not in NA or AA or any of the programs. So in 12-step fellowships, there's kind of a difference between NA and AA in a few customs. So in AA, you reach out your hand and you shake hands with people. You seldom hug. I don't see hugging too much in AA. But in AA, See, I'm getting confused. In NA, they say, hugs, not drugs. And it's often that I will reach out my hand and then be pulled in by another person for a hug. And unfortunately, sometimes there are people that are long huggers and they like to get in there and give you a nice long hug. And hugs are consensual things. And I've never been much of a hugger. I have not. And people are offended in some circles that you do not hug. I don't have to hug anyone. And sometimes when people hug long, and a lot of people do hug long, they go out and some people have a lot of pride in NA that they are great huggers. And I'm not going to fault you, man, because it's better than the alternative out there. But me personally, if I could just shake hands, I would shake hands because it's all sorts of weird. Uh, you know, shaking hands is universally known as an appropriate form of touching, and unfortunately, hugging has difficult and complicated circumstances in the professional world, and I kind of like to have as many good boundaries as I can in recovery, and I'd like to have the same boundaries in my professional life than I would in my recovery life. That's just me. Plus, I don't like getting hugged. So if I was in this situation, which sometimes I have been, and you can feel it, someone pulls you in for a hug and then gives you the and you're like, if there's enough time for an exhale or a breath, like I like, if I do get a hug, if when I do, and I'm so uncomfortable talking about hugs right now, just because it just I like hugging my dogs, and I'm married, and I hug my wife, and family members. I'd like a good hug from them for sure. But people in the program, yeah, it just I'll tell you, I don't want to offend them, but I always end up having to hug. So if yeah, I'm sorry. It's just a little bit. But you know what? The fact that this meme was created this week, and just only last week this boxing match happened. Good on the creators of this, whoever created this, because this is fresh. This is the rating that I will give this meme. This is a fresh recovery meme. Whoever, stay on the cutting edge, please, and use as many appropriate images that you can from the popular culture. Keep it fresh, because some of these memes today you'll see are moldy and stale, and I guarantee you'll see that. And so, look at this. I'll give it DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince giving their secret handshake fresh, approved. So good effort on that, whoever made that. Now, I need to give a thank you to people who support the show. And I need to thank Nate from the Sober Crew. And if you have not joined the Sober Crew Facebook page, you definitely should, because they support this channel. They allow me to post when I'm doing my meme review. They're excellent content managers, and it's a way for people to support each other in early recovery. It has all the trappings of what you would think in a sober sobriety group. There's actually no guidelines on if you follow any particular religious group, or if you follow any particular organization or support group. I recommend joining this group. I need to thank Nate. Hey, Nate, thank you very much. I appreciate it. I appreciate you. And if you've joined Sober Crew, remember to invite your friends. Help Nate out, because it's a good little Facebook group. They support the channel. And just a reminder that we do this every Monday night, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. I'm Seth Perry. I'm a pastor. I'm also in recovery from addiction. I'm not affiliated with any treatment centers, institutions. I'm not affiliated with any I'm not affiliated with any support groups, religions. I am a pastor, but I have no biases on religion, and I'm not speaking right now as a representative of any particular religion, because this is a space for anyone of any spiritual belief to come hang out and watch a live stream, chat in the chat, and talk about recovery. So that's one thing that I wanted to say, that I have to keep saying. Another thing is I'm not a counselor. I'm not a professional. I am only an individual that has a Master of Divinity. I've worked as a chaplain in a treatment center, and in other settings, but I'm not a doctor. So anything that might come out of this that may be advice is strictly editorial. So that said, we're going to move on to another meme. And I'm glad I just picked this one up today. I haven't seen this one before. And let me sneeze first. All right, we're back. I have sneezed. I just picked this one up. All right, here we go. So this one says, drugs could ruin your life. So if I catch you with drugs, I will arrest you, send you to jail, and ruin your life. You know what? I really like this one. This is a great one. Shows a police officer, and it brings up the question of really, how do we enforce and work to correct the lives of individuals who are breaking the law, that have to carry around drugs, in really in any quantity that you would if you were a helplessly addicted drug addict. And so let's look a little bit of history in our country. And it was only, and this is in Canada, and I think it's worse in the United States. In Canada, during the Harper government here, after three drug offenses, and I believe that those would be trafficking offenses, then it's a life sentence. And that's brutal. And the way that individuals who get possession charges as well, the way that they are also kind of, and they end up in jail. Is jail the best place for someone who's hopelessly addicted? And I know that there is a drug court system in my country as well. But ultimately, it leads to the big question, which is decriminalization. Like, you need to decriminalize possession that is really outside of the realm of organized crime level drug activity. And that's super important. I think you need to look at the individual and see how much they're suffering. And I know it, yeah, they might be multiple drug offenders. Some individuals might offend over and over and over again. They might have possession or have drug related offenses. But the fact that we continue to punish people that where modern psychology has indicated that this is a psychological disorder, that's unfortunate. And so it's pretty radical for some people to hear the whole decriminalization argument. People are like, drug addicts, if they offend, they've made a choice and they need to go to jail. And of course, yeah, there is a lot of the concept of free will involved in all of that, but the level of suffering and dependence that an addicted individual has on a particular drug, that is a concern. That is something that I believe really is hard for an individual to control. Their life may actually be out of control. Prison may not be the best place for an individual that has just racked up a bunch of drug offenses. So what can the government do? And I mean, there's models like Portugal where it's been decriminalized, and there has been quite a bit of success. Now, I mean, there are many individuals that favor more conservative drug laws, and they may have numerous reasons why the Portugal model doesn't work or wouldn't work in North America. But it comes down to compassion, to understand what it is like for an individual to be incarcerated and to be real. Let's be real. In a prison, how easy is it to get drugs? Well, it's easier than some treatment centers. Every treatment center has the risk of someone smuggling past, any type of bag search, a drug or a drink. Every kid who goes into treatment. I was just thinking of someone in particular. That's why I said kid. But every person has that possibility, if you're in a drug and alcohol treatment center, to smuggle in drugs here or there. But it happens in prison too. I've met enough people that have been in prison that have been able to continue to use in prison. It's not like there's a smorgasbord of drugs and alcohol, but it is possible. And there's other things like, in order to survive, would you only go deeper into gang culture, which is another aspect of it. So, is there going to be any healing like going on for people, right? Uh, in prison, not so much, not so much. So, why can't we have healing institutions, especially for those who are in deep into addiction? So, I really love this meme. I'm going to give it a Miley Cyrus deep. That's right. Respect. That's a respectful, listening face that I've presented to you all. Um, that is, I have to give a lot of respect to this meme. It's excellent. I think that it's a discussion that more people need to have. It's like, you know, and even in recovery, people are like, you do drugs, you get punished, you end up in jail. That's what the story of my life. You know, well, nowadays things are different, and there is another option, and we need to look at that as a culture, society, whatever. We need to look at options. Love that meme. Excellent. Not so much on this. All right, this one sparked a little bit of controversy in one particular Facebook group because people were talking about it. So I don't know why this was posted in a recovery Facebook page, but here we go. Once you get here, there'll be no coming back. So seek Jesus Christ while you still can. Uh, Here's my problems with it. It doesn't really offer much in the way of a solution to addictions. This kind of just talks about dying. And so, for someone thinking about, addiction, or someone who was in a culture of addiction, maybe someone who knew people or numerous people who died of an overdose, this would be potentially harmful. It also is only offering one specific spiritual path, and I always like to leave that up for people to decide. Even though I am a pastor of a Christian denomination, I think that spirituality is definitely a journey for people. It's also preaching damnation theology, and what do I mean by that? It means that if Jesus isn't your higher power, and you die, then you're going to hell. Which brings us all the way back to this, right? Again, a binary of good or bad, and we know that the world is a lot more gray. And if we talk about wrongdoing and sin, we could be talking for a long, long time because there's circumstances and there's nuance to human behavior and to why we do the things that we do. So when we look at something like this is just saying once you die, you can't undo that. So seek Jesus Christ while you still can. And well, I'm here in Canada, and there was a whole family of people 8 days ago that were not Christian. They were Muslim, and they were killed by another person. Four people. This meme will not help them or their family or the community that surrounds them. Uh, you know, um, because again, I come back to what I do to foster growth in individuals as someone who wants to help and advocate and assist other people. I got to say, keep your spiritual options open and listen to others and listen to others' spiritual path. And so, why does damnation theology not work? Well, there are many models in which it is used that I see are abusive. And if you just study numerous ideologically conservative Christian movements, you will see that there is that kind of binary where it's like you either do good or bad. You're either on Jesus's side or you are pretty much possessed by demons, right? Hmm, that's harmful. So, what's the alternative? Well, the alternative would be we are all neighbors. We're in this world together. I'm also a human, and I cannot judge for another human by looking at an ancient text and like the Bible and making a judgment that really indicates knowledge that I do not have. And I do not have that knowledge that happened. I do not have the knowledge that indicates what happens to an individual after they die. So I'm not going to spend my time on earth telling other people what will happen when they die or making suggestions about other individuals that have already died. What about that one person that overdosed in an individual's life, hypothetically speaking, that never went to church? Where is the comfort for anyone who's reading this? There is no comfort. There's only worry, and then they have to grieve in probably the most messy, messy way possible. There you have it, right? There you have it. So when I see this in the context of a recovery group, I go, all right, I understand the intention behind it. And the intention behind it is someone probably has had a profound religious experience in their life, and it has to do with Jesus, and it has to do and their way has really probably given them a lot of energy, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. That's excellent. Absolutely. High five to you. But then it comes down to the if someone had a really vivid religious spiritual experience, it doesn't mean that you have to force that particular narrow opinion on others. Wow. And I mean, I don't need to be forced to give my life to Jesus while I still can, right? Um, I'm still a Christian and I have a different way of looking at things. And many Christians have a different way of looking at this particular area of theology. So it's this is complicated. This is a very simple solution to something very complicated. It's looking at like the deeds that we do on earth. And it is saying that they can be sorted into good and bad and good and bad. But it's not that easy, right? It isn't that easy. So I never tell a person that they have only one option, right? Because that's not the nature of free will. What happens to the person that like are they what happens when they realize, hey, I think I was seeking Jesus for 2 weeks and then now I'm not. We've got to have conversations and not dictations. So my opinion on that, that's my editorial on this particular meme, which I would give the rating of the, I'm gonna back away from this. The Dan Levy, look at Dan Levy's eyes, say it all, honestly. They definitely do. It's something that I had to talk about, but I don't know. I just say chill, chill. All right. We've got an update from last week. That's right, folks. An update. Last week, you might have seen that we did this rent a sponsor. Well, would you believe it that someone else on another, like what is it about this particular sobriety meme that it has to be completely low res? Absolutely. Like both of them horribly. They look like they are both from 1999. They are just like ancient. They have most of the same text, except there is a little bit of a difference. If you look right here, it says 1-800 call sponsor, not a call sponsor now, right? But here it says call 1-900 pour me or 1-900 pour me one. Okay, which, all right. Yeah, that was the one that I read last week. And here's the one that I read this week. And it says also here, act now and get a free copy of the information pamphlet, Staying Clean on War Stories Alone. Okay. A subsidiary of Outside Enterprises Inc. It says at the bottom, a subsidiary of Outside Enterprises Inc., which I guess in 12 step land, that means that they're talking about outside issues, which mean issues outside the program. So again, this sponsor, again, this meme has reared its ugly head again in a different form this week. So again, that's why I'm going to give it the rating of a moldy orange. It is moldy. It's one of those oranges that you reach into in your Mandarin orange bag or box, and unfortunately, it completely falls apart in your hand because it's covered in mold, and it's just that's kind of what it feels like. And so we're going to move on to our next chapter, our next meme, and this meme is a Michael Jackson one, which, okay, the Michael Jackson popcorn eating meme from Thriller is acceptable. I would say this is an acceptable use of Michael Jackson because I don't know why, but I guess I'll say sure, fine. And so it says newcomers trying to pronounce anonymity. And boy, oh boy, can we talk about this? When people get sober and they come into any of the 12-step programs, it's always a tough thing for people to read anonymity. And eventually comes the time where someone's going to have to give it a shot and read it in front of a whole big room full of people. And so it's a tough one for people to pronounce. And people often trip up on anonymity because anonymity is a tongue twister, 100%. So you do hear people mess up in reading it if they're not, accustomed to reading anonymity out loud or just speaking it out loud, only seeing it on the page, then sure. So there's that side of this where I could see someone who, isn't very well practiced at a newcomer who hasn't really read it out loud. Give them the pass. That's cool. But is this maybe also A little bit troublesome for those individuals who come into the rooms and have a level. Some people come to the rooms and have a level of literacy that is impacted by their addiction, and they have trouble reading, or there are many dyslexic people that also come into the rooms. There's even illiterate people that are unable to read and have learned to read in the program. So that's the compassionate side that I want to bring to this as well. And I think it's important. It's important maybe to think about that, because we always want to be compassionate. If people are new to recovery, we don't want that one thing to kind of turn them off. And so making fun of the fact that someone can't spell, because sometimes people have to write stuff up on a board in front of people if they're chairing, or if they just can't pronounce certain words. And some people just have trouble reading, and AA involves a lot of reading. So it's something to think about. And that's why I'm going to give it an embarrassed panda. That's the meme rating that I'm giving this: an embarrassed panda in a rocking chair. And that's what it is. Yeah. All right. This meme, I don't even know where to start. How did this become a recovery meme? How old is this meme? This is probably one of the worst pixelated, out of date recovery memes that I have seen in my whole 11 years of being sober. I don't even know where to begin. So, first of all, let's just read the text before we address the picture. So, you never worked a step, stopped going to meetings, stopped calling your sponsor, isolated from your network, and finally relapsed. And it's the program that doesn't work. Why do I have a problem with the words there? Okay. Well, first of all, the problem is not every program is right for each individual. Alcoholics Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous, and other programs, they aren't always going to work. And this is talking about 12-step programs. We are in a completely new era in treating addiction and recovery, and we need to be able to understand that people need individual and unique solutions, and some of the old guard has an issue with the term unique. Some people, and I actually was definitely a supporter of this, that some people, I was one of the people that believed that you had to do it a certain way. And I didn't learn that there was other ways of doing it until about 5 years ago. And I really haven't opened up my mind to many of the possibilities really until recently about the whole other world of individuals that there's a whole group of people out there that believe that they're in recovery, and that celebrate that they're in recovery, that have nothing to do with the 12 steps. And I need to be humble and just kind of be like, yeah, that's the way it is. And cheer on those people that are doing it the way that's different than mine, right? Okay, so that's why this pixelated garbage text is weirding me out. But then why is it a picture of Bill Cosby? This really shows its age, and then it also shows why it's problematic that it's still being shared. What the heck is going on here? He has nothing to do with recovery, and never did have anything to do with recovery. And I can see that this is maybe a reaction face that suits the text and stuff, but I don't want to be hearing this message in Bill Cosby's voice, and it makes it even worse, which is why I pixelate myself and I blur this image of Pikachu here for you guys to hear. This image of Pikachu sums up how this image of Pikachu sums up how this meme played out and how it looks, and then this wonderful meme of Prison Mike tells you where Bill Cosby ended up, in prison. And this meme needs to go to prison. And that's my rating. pixelated me with a pixelated Pikachu, and prison Mike because this meme needs to go to prison. And I think someone who was sharing it, actually, when they shared it in the Facebook group, when I saw that, they were sharing it sarcastically as a meme that is a meme that has aged poorly. Absolutely. All right, so I need to thank the Recovery Misfit Memes Facebook group. I appreciate their support and allowing me to post videos on their page. Thank you so much. I want to remind everyone that the Recovery Meme Review is on Monday nights, and it is live, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. It's yeah. This chair is uncomfortable. And now my wife is looking at me like, you're a dork. And if you've been watching this stream, you probably know by now, I am a dork. But I want to thank you all for watching the stream so far. We got more memes to go on tonight's live stream. I do want to remind you that I am Seth Perry. I am a pastor. I am also in recovery from addiction. I'm 11 years clean and sober. I am also want to remind you I'm not affiliated with any religions, institutions, organizations, support groups. I am not a medical professional, and this is an editorial. I do foster spiritual growth for anybody, but I also want to talk about belief with people who have no spiritual beliefs. So just basic philosophy that many atheists and agnostics in the program are interested in, because I have excellent, fulfilling conversations with them, and I also have wonderful relationships and conversations with people in the program, about the program, about recovery, that just that don't even really know what they believe, and that's okay. They have when people talk about higher power, they have numerous different things that they find meaning in, and they can't articulate it, and that's all part of the process of staying in the program and staying in recovery. All right, so this next meme. Let's move on to the next meme. How the heck did we get a Napoleon Dynamite meme in 2021 for sobriety? I don't know. Napoleon Dynamite was 17 years ago. 17 years ago. So then you got to think, how many people actually see a meme like this and know what you're talking about? I feel old seeing this, but it's also not even that good of a meme. Heck yes, I'm freaking sober. Gosh, all caps. I can hear the voice of Napoleon Dynamite, of John Hader, or whatever his name was. I'm hearing it. Okay, and this is a weak meme. Yeah, that's pretty much what I like. I don't even know if this was if you can really classify this. This is a picture trying to be a meme, really, I guess. But any picture that gets passed around enough becomes a meme because it becomes mimetic. So then it would be classified as a meme, I guess. But it unfortunately, I have to say, this this meme is not good, and that's why I'm going to give it a Star Wars conversation between Vader and a general, where it is a old meme, and but it checks out, I guess. There's like it's an old meme, but it does check out, I guess. It's a way of people saying, hey, yeah, I am sober. Yeah, definitely, I am sober. But anything to do with Napoleon Dynamite, I just kind of go, yeah, I don't know. I would rewatch that movie now, but I remember when everyone was quoting Napoleon Dynamite, right? And you know, back then I didn't have a beard. I was, 70 pounds lighter than I am right now. I was using. So, I mean, that tells you how long ago that was. So, hmm, I would say um, I'm just going to leave it be. It doesn't hurt anyone. I think it confuses many people. Might confuse the youngins. Any of those Zoomers and very very young millennials would kind of go like, "What is that?" But that's just what it is. Just kind of a meme that made it on because it confused me, and there we go. We'll move on to our next. And thank you for everyone who's tuned in so far. Just a reminder, you can comment. But if you're shy, that's okay too. Okay, so I like this one. It really actually there's a lot of truth to this, and I gotta say this is pretty good. And I would also say that this is one of those things that has become a meme that maybe someone heard at a AA or an NA meeting. Ever accidentally throw something away, then later you realized you needed it? I almost did that with my life. That sounds like something that like a circuit speaker, someone who speaks at a lot of recovery functions or whatever, they decide, well, okay, start off my talk and I'm going to do the accidentally throwing away your life bit. And then I'm going to settle them down, and then I'm gonna tell them another joke about Bill W, and then I'll just calm down again, and then I'll get serious and get into it or anything like that. Sure, absolutely. Um, and the funny thing about it is like this is something that you would hear and then at one meeting, and then you probably go on vacation, decide to go to a meeting, then hear someone else use it. I kind of like that there are these sayings around. So this is probably something that's really really old, right? This is an old recovery saying that's been passed around. I think it's great. I think it's funny, but it's old. So I'll give it a Betty White, definitely. Betty White dabbing, because dabbing is no longer in fashion, and Betty White is old. Honey, is Betty White still alive? Okay, confirmed by wife. Betty White is still alive. That's a miracle. Forget me being in recovery. You're a miracle, Seth. No, Betty White is alive. Betty White, you're a miracle. I hope I don't jinx her by just getting off this live stream and figuring out that unfortunately Betty White has moved on. Well, that was a dark segue. Let's move on to another incredibly pixelated meme. Oh my goodness, look at this. This has been copied and screenshotted so many times. What is going on with this? But a good message. Sobriety is like pizza. When it's good, it's really good. But when it's bad, it's still pretty damn good. Okay, I gotta say, uh, my wife and I have had bad pizza. We had probably the worst pizza that you could ever have. We were knocked out for a day, right? And we thought that was just garbage. It was awful. It was pizza. And I'm by that I mean it was a pizza place called Pizza. It wasn't a place called Pizza, or we didn't have three pizzas. We had this Pizza, uh, which is an Ontario chain, and I didn't grow up on Pizza, and it was a rather rural pizza. And so we picked it up, we had it, and we were just like, this is very subpar pizza. And it ended up just like we were sick and it was gross. So some bad pizza is really bad. We also went to a place uh, for pizza. We ordered pizza when we were in, where was that in Michigan? Grand Rapids, Michigan? We were in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and we ordered a pizza from a place, and then we saw that they had tacos, and all the tacos were just pizza toppings in tacos, and they had no taste or flavor. So that was bad pizza with tacos that just were just them reusing the pizza toppings. So it says sobriety is like pizza. When it's good, it's really good. But when it's bad, it's still pretty damn good. Now, most of the time, I would say this is true if I didn't have those two really bad pizza experiences. But you know what? It's true. Bad pizza is still good. I have to say. Bad pizza is still, you're just like, why do I like this? But I like this and I'm coming back for more and I want more. This is just wow. Uh so I'm gonna say this is a pretty good meme. This is a pretty good meme. I want to thank you to whoever submitted this. I know who submitted it, but thank you for submitting it. But I gotta say, uh, this is damn pixelated. So here we go. I'm gonna give it a pixelated cat. That's right. This cat is incredibly pixelated, and it is as pixelated as this meme, and as pixelated as that gross pizza felt. So I want to thank everyone who's submitted memes so far. You've done great. So now it's time to move on to an inspirational meme. Uh, Breenie Brown. Breen Brown. How do you say her name? Breenie Brown? Breenie Brun. How do you pronounce her name? Brene. Breenie Brown. Breenie Brown. What? Uh, I'm getting no help on this. I should know her name because she's done many TED talks on recovery and all sorts of stuff like that. So one day you will tell your story of how you overcame what you went through, and it will be someone else's survival guide. I can't thank this quote enough. There's tons of truth to this, and that the reason why is this is something that a lot of people who come into recovery have a problem actually embracing. Uh, Sometimes people come into recovery and it's hard for them to actually reveal certain aspects of their life and use that as someone else's survival guide or as or just as a vulnerable part of their story. I didn't know that professionally I could be pretty much open about me having a past of addiction and overcoming that addiction. I needed to really be told by other people that I could do it, and I never know when I'm actually helping someone. So I think that's important. You can be tactful and you can learn from the help of other people to kind of really just guide you along in that aspect of really just how to appropriately speak about your past so that you're not oversharing and so that it's available there for someone to use to help them, so there's that side to it. I like that. Now, I've been caught sometimes maybe just assuming that my story is going to be helpful to everyone, and that's my own thing. But that's my own ego. That's my own delusion too. This My story is not universal help for everyone. It doesn't qualify me as anything more important than other people in this world. And I really, I have honestly sometimes forgotten that. I was a chaplain at, doing my training at a hospital, and someone gave me feedback. He said, not everyone's an addict. And so the story of my life and the experience that I've garnered by being a recovering addict That's not necessarily going to be helpful to everyone. It isn't. Sometimes I need to use other tools and other ways to communicate to people to help them along. So there's something about this quote that kind of reminds me of my own struggles dealing with my own ego and delusion around how helpful I can be. So interesting stuff, I would say. But ultimately, this quote gives SpongeBob tears of emotion and joy, and I think that that is really important that we put that in there. That's something that's going to help people. That's a quote that will carry people through their early days. You probably heard my dog's snoring. You've probably heard now my dog is digging into a cushion next to me. I'm surrounded by my three dogs, and it's great, but they do make a little bit of ambient noise during the broadcast. Okay, are you done, Spike? Spike, are you done? Because I'd like to move along. You done digging your hole in the pillow? He might not be done, but we'll just move on. So, like I said, Recovery Misfit Memes, they submitted some memes that they liked. Some of the guys actually create memes, and we'll get into in the weeks to come. This is a Facebook group that you could join, and they have certainly some irreverent recovery memes. I've chosen some appropriate ones that kind of go with the vibe of my channel. And so the first one can really sum up my life sometimes, and especially my early recovery. So I really like these. These ones are entertaining. So let's dive in here. Me trying to live life on life's terms. Confused, screaming. So he uses a filthy Frank screaming with a pan in his hand. Sometimes I feel like this is going on in my own mind, and in early recovery, living life on life's terms. Let me give you the skinny on what it was like in early recovery. So I was a stand-up comedian for a number of years before I got clean, and then I couldn't really go back to that. And what I ended up doing was I got a job at Staples in the copy and print center for 3 years. And there was a lot of confused screaming going on in my head as I tried to, I'm 29 years old and I'm getting trained to run the cash register at Staples. And I'm wearing a red uniform to work, and I'm getting paid like minimum wage. And it's not like I was making amazing money as a comedian, but at least I could carry that around with my ego and say, yeah, I'm a comedian. So that's what happens. How did I get through that? Well, I really discovered that there were a bunch of other people with confused screaming going on in their own head as they try to live life on life's terms, because a lot of people live where you know spending money is not an option. They just spend. They live for the high. And when that all grinds to a halt and you realize that you kind of have to have other ways of dealing with life's ups and downs, then this kind of meltdown can happen in your own brain. And so this meme really captures the essence of the struggle of the recovering addict. And I also wanted to say that in my life recently, like in the last 6 years, forget just the first 3 years. So I've been sober for 11 years. So just even in the last 6 years, I still have moments like these. Just ask any of my family members. I can still have problems and complications. So there's so much truth in this. And that's why I will give it the rating of Eric Andre destroying his set. I couldn't think of a more appropriate way of saying what it's like sometimes being in early recovery or just trying to live life on life's terms. that is absolutely what can happen to individuals. This is what it feels like for people to try and live life on life's terms sometimes. Just want to say, that this is, yeah, definitely. Uh, what a great meme. All right, here we go. This one uses a very popular this meme uses a very popular format that has been used frequently that I've seen in the last maybe 10 months. I'm not sure when the origin of this is. We have Jesus, and he's speaking in front of everyone in an old classic painting that you might see in the basement of a church. And it says, "Love everyone, no matter what. But what if they relapse?" And that was the edit right in there. But what if they relapse? Someone edited that in there. And he said, "Did I effing stutter?" So, um, what's at the heart of this? Uh, some serious stuff is actually at the heart of this. A lot of truth is in this. Um, Speaking from my own experience, when I came in, I thought, like I said, there was a lot of black and white thinking, which is kind of like what was going on in this in this image, right? There's right or wrong, right? You're either in recovery or you're out. So if you relapse, you've really messed up. So uh, I had that black and white thinking, and the reality is that many people will relapse. So in the 11 years, I've seen many people relapse. In my early recovery, it was a lot more dramatic when someone would relapse. I would say that in my early recovery, I would notice it more, and it was more of a shock. There seemed to be a behavior of shunning in some recovery circles, and 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 that happens. There is a culture of, do not connect with certain individuals. And at the particular treatment center I went to, there was kind of like a request of people who were getting continual aftercare counseling that there's some individuals that you should avoid if they've relapsed. But in my mind, I said, completely cut them out of your life if they relapse. Don't hang around them. But there's also the saying, stick with the winners, which could also maybe isolate individuals, right? Maybe isolate individuals that have just ended up relapsing. So when we look at the concept of relapse, we have to think about how relapse is something that is unavoidable in recovery communities. And there needs to be less stigma around individuals who relapse and more solution based stuff. And so the sins of my past, the things that I used to do were just like, that person relapsed. They need to be cut off. I mean, on the other hand, there's nothing I can do to make them sober. And sometimes people who relapse end up having some serious behavioral issues that mean that it's a good idea to not hang out with them. But what is being said right up here is love everyone no matter what. So sometimes, loving someone means it's better for you to just step away, which is okay. It might be good for your own sanity to do that for someone who's relapsing, but still definitely love them. But also in general, this is something for people to think about if you've just met someone in your own recovery community. So maybe you're in a support group or whatever, and someone's relapsed in that support group. And maybe they do it 5 or 6 or 7 times over the course of a year or over 2 years. Maybe the whole time you've known them, they've been relapsing. Maybe the whole time you've known them, they've been relapsing. But it's important to remember this message that you still got to give them love. You still got to give them love, no matter what. And the boldness of this, saying like, absolutely not, absolutely not. Did I stutter? Love, yeah. Uh, I, I would say it would be unconditional love. Is the kind that you got to. If you see someone and you can, by all means, you can see it. It's visible on them that they're a relapsed individual that is coming back for the first time. Love them up because we know the other side of it, either suffering or death, right? So I got to give this one a truth rating, and the best way to give it a truth rating is bring on Macho Man Randy Savage because you all will face the truth. That's right. And the best way to face the truth is to look at that meme and understand that full stop, everyone who's relapsed in your community, whatever, wherever, if you're in a community of recovery, we need to find a way to appropriately love them back in, give them the best chance of living their life. Right? It's not so much about continuous sobriety; it's about preventing death when we're talking about relapse, because that's one of the things I think about when I think about when I think about relapse. I just think about death. So yeah. So here's what I want to do next. I'm going to embarrass myself a little. Um, when you get sober at age 30 and you don't even know who you are, you pick up where you left off as a teenager. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, is this ever me? Absolutely. I didn't know who I was. Honestly, I didn't. I hadn't really no identity. Man, I didn't. Man, like I just sort of went back to my teens in behavior and also in the way I kind of dressed, I guess, too. I had a big identity crisis. So this old dude riding the skateboard, that is me in my first years of recovery. 100%. Absolutely. Yeah, that is. And that's why I'm going to give it an embarrassed Lizzie McGuire. That is the rating that I give this because it's embarrassing to think that this was me 11 years ago. I'm glad I've grown. I'm still dorky though, I would say. So yeah, a similar one is this one. When you started using illicit drugs and get clean at 30, and of course we got the Steve Buscemi meme, which his original text in that is I forget what he says. He says, does he say hello, teenagers? I don't really even know, but it's supposed to be Steve Buscemi is undercover as a kid at a high school, and so they've replaced the text. It works if you work it, dude. Oh, yes. They put dude at the end because you try to be cool at 30. It's pretty it is it's embarrassing, really. I definitely tried to be cool. So if I had to choose between this one and this one, I would choose this one, and so that is why this one is going to get a meh, rating. Definitely. I got a dog and a sheep going, meh. So there we go. But this next meme is hilarious. Sponsoring yourself was a picture. Oh my goodness. Is this ever not I don't know what the story behind how this picture actually happened, but this 100% sums it up. Now, no one ever really says I'm sponsoring myself. No one ever says that. I don't know where that comes from. That's an accusation that old timers make. So, but I do think the meme is excellent. Why did I just like throw old timers under the bus there anyway? I don't know, but the meme there, it's good, and that's why I'm going to give it the super hot fire rating. It definitely is an amazing super hot fire meme because you get it right away. It's simple, and I like it. So here we go. More about me. When you're in rehab for taking pills, but everyone else injects real drugs. Man, when I got to rehab, I was like, everyone else has is doing like way worse drugs than me. And I mean, I was in bad shape when I got in treatment. But then I was like listening to what other people were using, and I mean, there is a lot of like comparing and war stories, and people like to say they're worse off or whatever. But I did really feel like this one kid here in this picture 100% of the time when you're in rehab for pills, but everyone else injects real drugs. I did like when I got to treatment, I was like, fentanyl, what is fentanyl? That's when I first learned about fentanyl in 2010. I had no idea that that was even a drug, or I learned so much about drugs, and I thought that I'd been using drugs for 15 years, that I would know about that. I was addicted or whatever, but there was stuff I just didn't know. And I felt like kind of like some people were like, yeah, yeah, that's Seth. He's not as bad of an addict as us. And comparing is a challenge like that can really mess you up, right? So anyway, I'm going to give you this one of the Olsen twins saying that it's the story of our lives. Definitely, because this was the story of my experience in treatment. Alrighty, so um, here's one. When you finally fall asleep in detox after days of not sleeping, and the nurse wakes you up for your vitals, and you give them the look like this. Oh my goodness! I know this two different ways. I know this because I have been that person who has been asleep, and I have woken up, and I've looked to see a nurse or whatever coming in to take my blood pressure or anything. Like, oh my gosh, right when you get to sleep. And sometimes it is so hard to get to sleep in your early recovery. My gosh, did this ever happen to me a lot. But then I worked in a treatment center, and I have to do room checks. And sometimes I do room checks, and then I find out the next day, oh yeah, Seth, could you be more quiet when you go into people's room doing room checks? Because, and I mean, like, it's hard to be quiet, especially when people are coming off drugs. Because when I would come off drugs, I'd be a really light sleeper, right? And so it's tough. But when I look at this, I'm going to give this the telepathic cat rating, because I feel like this meme is reading my mind, because I've been in this situation before. Yeah, definitely been in that situation. I've been the person walking in, and I've been the person in the bed. So everyone on Recovery Misfit Memes, thank you so much for giving me some memes. They've given me a lot more, and I'll be asking for more in the future. I want to thank everyone for tuning in. We're coming close to the end, but we'll be doing a little bit more. Or maybe I'll do just a few more before I sign off tonight. And just a reminder, every Monday night, 7 p.m. for Pacific, I will be live streaming the Recovery Meme Review. And I really have to thank the Sober Crew, my biggest supporter. They allow me to post the videos on the Sober Crew Facebook page, and I review a lot of memes that are posted there as well. So, two thumbs up for the Sober Crew. Please become a member of the Sober Crew, and invite your friends as well. Reason 419, why sobriety rocks. And I'm looking at a bison and a calf. Like, am I missing something? I don't understand this. I don't understand what this is. I don't understand what it's supposed to represent. I would like to see the other 418 reasons before this. Did you run out of reasons? If you like, I maybe if you saw this in the wild, then maybe I could see, yes, I get that, but I need more explanation. This should not be in meme form. This maybe could be just a post that you post for maybe your nephews and nieces, because I think what I'm seeing is this is a dude who likes to wear leather, and he has a Harley, and he owns a truck, and he goes ATVing, and he may have seen this in the wild. That's just a guess. I don't know what the heck is going on here. Like if it's a mother bison with her calf, okay, I get it. You're seeing that maybe in the wild, but it doesn't speak a lot to recovery. So I'm going to put a confused John Travolta in an REI. That's what I'm going to rate that at. Be more clear about what you're trying to say here. You got a lot more space in that meme to give me a little bit of a heads up as to what's going on. Yeah. So I'm in a recovery. This is from SerenityRavenWolf.com. Serenity Raven Wolf. And this was posted in a recovery Facebook group. It's time to just be happy. Being angry, sad, and overthinking isn't worth it anymore. Just let things flow. Be positive. Well, that is easy for you to say. First of all, the first red flag is going to be the minion. First of all, it's a minion meme. That would tell me that there's going to be a problem with the meme off the hop. Secondly, telling people to be happy doesn't necessarily work. There are some individuals that have complications in their own mind or brain that are psychological, that might have to do with their chemistry of the brain, that might prevent them from being happy. Clinical depression or mood disorders being one of them. There are other people that are suffering and recovering from abuse, and telling them to be happy is not therapeutic. Being angry and sad and overthinking it. So if I was to tell certain people that they're overthinking it, you might get a little bit of resistance from them, or a little bit of anger back at you. Sometimes people need time to process and time to heal. So there's a practical aspect to this. For some individuals, this would be a valuable advice. But for many other individuals, it would be what I am looking at come out of the bottom of this dog right here. That's the kind of advice that it would be. So you got to really know who your audience is. And that is sometimes the problem with memes that just sort of end up being for a broad audience. You don't know who's necessarily going to be reading your inspirational memes. So there you have it. There's my hot take on that. I'm going to end today's meme review with two memes. So first of all, I'm going to end with this. So I saw this one in a recovery Facebook group, and I was like, okay. And I know that many recovery Facebook groups have people of all different religious backgrounds and different types of Christianity, different denominations of Christianity. Well, this one says, we are at a point where we are at a point in Christianity where people don't care if you can back it up with Bible. Their feelings, desires, and emotions override what Scripture says. They don't follow Christ. They follow self. Okay. So the Bible is a collection of books, and there are numerous different actual canons of the Bible. So what is included in the Bible is different depending on what particular Bible you have and what particular denomination of Christianity you follow. That's my first point. My second point would be interpreting the Bible. Am I French Canadian? Interpreting the Bible. There are so many different ways that people can do this. There are scholars that make their whole lives on writing and looking at the newest archaeological finds, where more scrolls and scriptures are actually found that shed more light on the message of the Bible. Thirdly, The Bible has been edited, editorialized, changed over centuries, and we need to understand those changes and have a conversation about them. So I can't dictate what point we are at in Christianity and what Christians really should believe. And backing something up with the Bible, well, that is a moving target because the Bible is in the process of being interpreted. So when you say that some people don't follow Christ, they follow self, that in itself is problematic. I think that we're not looking at the dialogue that happens around the table when we're looking at things like, let's give two different examples since we're talking about recovery. There's a dialogue that has to happen around the table around the Bible, and there's a dialogue that has to happen around the table around recovery literature. It isn't as cut and dry as the words that are written on the page, that they have to be interpreted in a particular way. That's just not the way it is. But some people want it to be that way, that it needs to be prescriptive, not dialogue. And that's okay if they want to do that. But this is why I want to comment on a meme like this. And there's some subtext in here. Their feelings, desires, and emotion override what scripture says. Okay, so they might be talking about very hot button issues in Christianity like marriage equality, right? They think that the Bible says that LGBTQIA plus individuals should not be married, and that's ridiculous. That is just unfounded. There's no real definition of marriage in the Bible. There just isn't. The context of which it was written, marriage really wasn't a thing. Those were things that were written in and editorialized in the Bible. Some people really want particular things to be gleaned out of the Bible. So I think that this is a pretty narrow spiritual view. And it also kind of shames people. Kind of being like, ugh. It also gives a shit name for Christians, right? A pretty bad name for Christians. So this meme is a hornet's nest. And you see what happens. I've kicked it, and that might be what happens to me because I've talked about it a little bit. But dang, that is what goes on with a meme like that. And man, there's really something to be said about allowing people to talk and having a space where we can be open and support each other and listen, uh, and not make prescriptive judgments about religion like that. That can be pretty hurtful. So just wanted to give my little spiel on that. And we've moved on to our final meme of the day. This one is uplifting and it's simple, and I really liked it. Raise your hand if you're seriously impressed that you're alive. And I think, great. This is a great message. What they've included in the, they've included this in the text here. I think it's great. This is great text. It's a great message, but I hope they realize that they're using a character, McMurphy, from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and I understand it's good. He's wearing scrubs and he's in a psych ward and everything, but he is a character that dies at the end of the movie and the book. So that's a little ironic. But still, there's a great message and everything. But immediately what I thought of was like, yes, I'll raise my hand. Absolutely. But I'm not, he dies at the end of the, I mean, maybe you could have a picture of the character Chief raising his hand if there is something like that, if you know the movie. But yeah, unfortunately, this character dies at the end of the movie. It's a tough go, isn't it, McMurphy? All right, folks, that's the last meme, and I'm going to give it a little bit of truth though, because I am impressed that I'm still alive. There's many points in my life where I'm like, whoa, I could have died there. So just a reminder to everyone, this is the Recovery Meme Review. We review memes every Monday night. So Monday nights live 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. You can tune in right here on Seth Perry's YouTube channel. Check out some of the highlights from last week. The highlight videos are great. Share this video with friends and share some of those highlight videos. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you again next week.